What is up, YouTube? This is Twinkie the Trapinch bringing you the second episode of Moveset Mondays on my channel. Now, today we're going to be reviewing Pachirisu. Now, normally, you'd obviously be like, why the hell is he going over Pachirisu? It's an NU Pikachu ripoff. But, obviously, after seeing World Championships and seeing Sejun Park run a frickin' Pachirisu and his team and win the thing, mind you, everybody wants to know how to run a Pachirisu. Now, looking at his stats, you definitely wouldn't think it's a World Championship Pokemon. It has base 60 HP, 70 defense, 90 special defense, and 95 speed, and both base 45 attacks. Now, base 45 is pretty low. Let me just check how high that goes. The maximum in either attack you could have at level 100 without a boosting nature would be 189, and with a boosting nature it would only be 207. So it's obviously not going to be making giant dents in your opponent's team. What Pachirisu is good for, however, is it's a troublemaker. Look at it. It's a squirrel. Squirrels like to fuck with people. Squirrels like to eat from bird feeders, and the birds do not appreciate that. So that's what Pachirisu's good at. It's good with fucking with people. Now, what Sejun Park did was he used it to distract attacks away from his Garchomp and allowed his Garchomp to sweep. Now, the main move, the most important move on this set is probably Nuzzle. No, actually, no, it would probably be Follow Me, but Nuzzle's listed first, so I'm going to go over that. Nuzzle is basically Thunder Wave, but it does damage. So, obviously, you're going to run that over Thunder Wave to get paralysis. That cripples your opponent, especially if they're a sweeper-esque Pokemon, like a fast Pokemon that's going to mess up your team. Now, Follow Me, the second move, is very important because that completely takes away any damage that would have hit your more important sweepy Pokemon. What Follow Me does is basically, if you're in doubles, an attack directed at a single Pokemon like Thunderbolt goes directly at Pachirisu. Now, if it's Earthquake or Rock Slide or something, it's obviously still going to hit both sides, but if it's an attack that's directed at a single Pokemon, it'll be directed at Pachirisu, even if it was aimed at your other Pokemon. Our next move, Super Fang, cuts whatever your opponent's HP is at the time of it being used in half. So say you're at 100 HP, it cuts it down to 50. If they're at 50 HP, it cuts it down to 25. That's very good because if you're up against a wall and you know you can't take it down with one attack from your sweeper Pokemon, Super Fang is definitely going to do a dent. So take away 50% HP and then maybe a Dragon Claw, and that is seriously going to piss off your opponent. And in the final moveset, I'd say you could run Protect to Scout, but personally, I'd prefer Charm, because that way, even if you get even if your opponent runs like Earthquake or Rock Slide, it's not going to do nearly as much damage to your team as it would have done before. Because what Charm does is it lowers your opponent's attack by 2 stages, I believe. Right? Yeah, lowers the opponent's attack by 2 stages, so your opponent's attack is halved. And Earthquake is not going to do nearly as much damage to any of your Pokemon on your side if its attack is halved. Now, the item you're going to want to run is a Citrus Berry, because in VGC, you can only run one item on one Pokemon per team, and Leftovers is probably going to be more useful on another Pokemon, but also Citrus Berry is probably better because it gives you 25% HP back at once instead of, like, I believe 1/16 back every turn. The 25% is going to be much more useful, especially since you're just soaking up hits. You're not going to you're not going to have the longevity that leftovers needs. And for the EV spread, if I didn't go over this already, you want to run 252 HP, 252 defense with an impish nature, and put the final 4 EVs into special defense. So that way you can soak up physical hits like the earthquake. And then even with a resisted special hit, you'll still only take like 60%, so it's still guaranteed that you're going to survive at least one special hit. And the special hit I'm referring to is Rodamo's Leaf Storm, which is a stab base 140 damage move. So you're not going to do nearly, they're not going to do nearly as much as they think they could, especially since your special defense is naturally higher. So you don't need to invest as much. Okay. The next set that I have for you today is one that was popular last generation. Let's see. Okay, this is basically this is one of those annoying sets that messes with your opponent's item. First, you have a zap plate. So if you decide you don't want to mess with your opponent yet, you still do get the boost to your volt switch. And the way the EVs are done, you have just enough special attack where you get a 100% chance to one-hit KO a Swanna, which is, I guess, kind of common in NU. Then you have Covet. Shut up, Facebook. Okay. There we go. Alright, so you have Zap Plate to boost your Volt Switch if you decide not to mess with your opponent yet. Bestow or Fling gives... Where are you? Alright. The user passes its held item to the target. So basically, if your opponent's not holding an item, you give it to them. Or you can use Fling and just chuck your item at them. Then you can use Covet to take whatever item they have, and then you can throw it at a different Pokemon on their team. So say you throw your Zap Plate at a choice user. Then you can Covet their choice item, and you can switch it with whatever item another Pokemon on their team has. So basically, you could throw choice specs at a physical attacker, and then it's basically screwed the rest of the match. Next, you want to run Super Fang, obviously, because it cuts your opponent's HP in half, and Volt Switch just to get the hell out of there after messing with your opponent. Now, with these EVs, you get 156 HP EVs, brings you right up to 300, which is a pretty comfortable level. The special defense, you need 252 speed EVs with a timid nature, so that way you can get your opponent first with any shenanigans you want to run. And then 56 special attack, as I said before, it one-hit KOs a Swanna with your Volt Switch, even if you don't have the Zap Plate. And then throw the rest of the EVs into special defense, or you can do physical defense. It's whatever floats your boat, really. Okay. The next Pachirisu set I have for you is if, despite the base 45 attack, if you still want to run a sweeping Pachirisu, this is the best I could come up with. So you want to run a timid nature, or if you really want to and you're confident that you can outspeed stuff with base 95, you could run a modest nature. And what I did was I gave it choice specs to boost special attack, and then you want to run... I feel like its special move pool is way better than its physical move pool, so even though the attack stats are equal, you want to run special. Now, you do Thunderbolt for stab, obviously. Grass Knot to get ground coverage, because ground is your only weakness. Then you can also get water coverage, even though that's not really that important considering you have Thunderbolt. Or you could run Okay, then you run Hidden Power Poison. Hidden Power Poison is there because fairies are a huge threat this generation. So Poison type could definitely be useful. And then also, Grass resists electric types. So Hidden Power Poison could actually hit any grass type that decides to switch in on you and mess you up. And finally, you can do Volt Switch to get some momentum, because Volt Switch is always a good... Volt Switch and U-Turn are always good moves to have on a choice user, because then you can just do a good amount of damage and then get the hell out of there and then let somebody else soak up a hit extremely easily, or they could have like Water Absorb or something and completely absorb the hit. And then finally, the last set I have for you does not have an item, which is super convenient, but I'll just come up with that as I go. Alright, so this set is something I actually like to run on Magneton in 5th gen. What you want to do with this set is you use Nuzzle or Thunderwave for whatever reason, but Nuzzle. Just Nuzzle. Nuzzle is better than Thunderwave 10 out of 10 times. You want to use Nuzzle to paralyze your opponent, and then Electro Ball. We have Electro Ball here instead of Thunderbolt because Electro Ball is based on speed. You have a base 95 speed, which even though it isn't that fast, it's pretty fast in like the standards we're going to use for this set. Now, when your opponent is paralyzed, it drops their speed 4 stages, so their speed is 1/4 of where it originally sat. And with Electro Ball, it's based on how much the faster you are than your opponent, the more damage Electro Ball does. So you sitting at a comfy base 95 speed and your opponent who, I don't know, but if your opponent had whatever speed, they're going to be cut down to 1/4 of that, so 100 speed would be 25 speed. You will do a crap ton of damage just because you're faster. And last gen, I said I ran this with Magnezone. Magnezone is a naturally slow Pokemon, and Electro Ball did a crap ton of damage to my opponent whenever I used this set. So, with a base 95 speed, which is pretty decent on Pachirisu, you're going to do a lot of damage. Now, the next thing I put on this set was Super Fang. So if you're not confident you're going to one-hit KO them, which you're probably not, with Electro Ball, just because, even though it will be powerful, Pachirisu is just not that strong, you're going to run Super Fang. And that will cut them down to 1/2 HP, and then you can use Electro Ball, which should KO them. You want to run Volt Switch to get the hell out of there if need be. But as an alternative to Super Fang, if you really wanted to, you could run Toxic, like say if it's against another electric type, so that way you could cripple them. Or instead of Volt Switch, you could run U-Turn, because you could get a ground type switched in on you and you just want to get the hell out of there, but you don't want to like normally switch because it's predictable. So you could use U-Turn if you really wanted to, but it's not stab. That's the only thing. Now for this set, I ran the same EV spread as the Seijun Park set, so I'm going to run the same item, which is the Citrus Berry. Now with this set, it's not as niche as the other one, because that one was specifically to get hits away from Garchomp. But if you really want to run 252 special defense and 4 into normal defense, and then run a Careful Nature, I believe it is. Yeah, if you want to run a Careful or Calm Nature instead, you can do that, and that would be completely fine. It's whatever floats your boat. But here you have more mixed bulk rather than specialty bulk, so you can definitely sponge both the physical attack and the special attack if need be. And that basically sums everything up about Pachirisu. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you like this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment with any suggestions. Comment with Pokemon you'd like to see in another moveset next week. Follow me on Twitter or like me on Facebook, and the links to those are both in the description. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this. Oh, and give me a link if you use any of these movesets in a battle, because I'd love to see these movesets actually get used, even with a Pokemon like Pachirisu. But like I said, I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope you have a nice day.